Sexual health is a state of physical, emotional, mental, and social well-being in relation to sexuality. It is not merely the absence of disease, dysfunction, or infirmity. Sexual health includes a sense of self-esteem, personal attractiveness, and competence, as well as freedom from sexual dysfunction, sexually transmitted diseases, sexual assault or coercion. Sexual health affirms sexuality as a positive force, enhancing other dimensions of one's life. It is fundamental to the overall health and well-being of individuals, couples, and families, and to the social and economic development of communities and countries. When viewed affirmatively, it requires a positive and respectful approach to sexuality and sexual relationships, as well as the possibility of having pleasurable and safe sexual experiences, free of coercion, discrimination, and violence. The ability of men and women to achieve sexual health and well-being depends on their access to comprehensive, good quality information about sex and sexuality, knowledge about the risk they may face and the vulnerability to adverse consequences of unprotected sexual activity, ability to access sexual health care, and living in an environment that affirms and promotes sexual health. Sexual health-related issues are wide-ranging and encompasses sexual orientation and gender identity, sexual expression, relationships, and pleasure. They also include negative consequences or conditions such as infections with human immunodeficiency virus, which is HIV, sexually transmitted infections, and reproductive tract infections, and their adverse outcomes such as cancer and infertility. Our topic today is sexual health. Don't go away, stay tuned. It's another day with the physicians where your health is our business. My name is Dr. Martina Aigbe. We'll be discussing sexual health today. And as usual, I'm not alone. I'm with my very elegant, beautiful, celebrity drink. No other person than our very own.
I'm Dr. Memina Yusuf Kadri. Welcome to your favorite health TV talk show, The Physicians, where your health is our business.
And will always be our business. Memina, we're going to talk about sexual health today. Do you have any...
It's broad.
It's very broad,
yeah.
Okay? So because we just want to touch little bits of everything and how people look at sexual health. Some people just believe that when you talk about sexual health, it has to do with only the reproductive aspect of health, forgetting that even violence against either a male or a female is part of sexual health. Yeah. Coercion is part of sexual health. Yeah. Female genital mutilation is also part of health, sexual health. So as a psychiatrist and a psychologist, you know the definition of what is health.
Yeah.
Okay, now so let's look at let's think about it from that aspect of WHO definition. Sure. It's not just the aspect of disease, mainly as of births, you know. So now talking about sexual health, and as a psychiatrist and psychotherapist, what have been your experiences so far?
For me, I think when it comes to sexual health, it's about, first thing is about being educated, that enlightenment on the nitty-gritty, not just the surface level. And in recent times, when we look at it from the workplace environment, quite a number of sexual harassment, violation, and then of course, the very first 1 year of COVID, there was a 25% increase in anxiety and depression globally, and women and children bear the brunt more. And what was the major driver? You know, domestic violence. Because people were locked down, there was, isolation. These were people that ordinarily, maybe in the morning, one person leaves before the other. When they come back, one person comes back before the other.
So they now had more time, interaction.
Yes, and so it became like, kids suffered a lot because they are, in quote, parents that look like demigod when like they're like monsters to them now because they fight the battles, using the children as scapegoats, and you know that messes up their psychic. And when we see a child right now, my own issue is not about this child, it's about in 10-20 years time, what happened, because all these risk factors, you know, coming from a home where there's domestic violence, coming from a home where there's death of one or both parents, coming from a home where, so it's just all those risk factors that wasn't within the control of this.
Now that you said that about the kids, right, and they're looking at what will happen in future, you forget that what has happened to them now, it's like to mess up their self-esteem in future.
Rape, rape, sexual harassment. So their self-esteem, and that will easily make them to break down, to have anxiety or depression. So so sexual health for me, I think it should start from the home first. So I always kind of let people know, let's drive this from the homes. Because for everybody that comes, you see, came from a home. It's your own definition of what it is. So parents have to take that, you know, a bull by the horn, start culturally appropriate, age appropriate,
and discuss. What you don't discuss, they will hear from outside.
They will hear from us, and
they will hear from outside.
It may not all go well.
Well, today's discussion is just going to be like open discussion. We're going to be free to talk about it. So don't go away. We'll be back after the short break. Just ensure you call your friends, your relatives, your colleagues to watch and watch the physicians. We're going to be discussing sexual health today. Are you surprised? We'll be back after the short break. Stay tuned.
Every day and in every way, enjoy that I find support. No matter the role you play, nutrient pack supplement for you and me. In your body,
Darvite nutritional supplement is loaded with essential multivitamins, minerals, and natural ingredients that helps you to be at your best. Darvite from LB Pharma. Darvite, love yourself.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're on your regular health TV talk show, The Physicians, where your health is our business. Today we're discussing sexual health. And in the studio with me is a beautiful lady, young, very cerebral, and that is going to speak so much about sexual health today. She is no other person than Dr. Chibuki Aigbe. She is a practice manager at One Wellness Center. Doctor, you're welcome to the program.
Good to be back here as always. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, melanin pumping.
Yeah, it looked really nice.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to be talking about sexual health. And maybe we'll start with, you know, it's a very broad topic. And today's discussion is not going to be what is this, what is that. We're going to be, it's an open discussion that we'll have, okay? So let's start with the definition. What is sexual health?
So we've spoken about that. I mean, it's being healthy as regards sex and your sexuality. And that means that, you know, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, you're in tune with your sexuality. I mean, and sex is something that we're born with, I would say, you know, but for some reason, I think cultural reasons, it's not something we speak about. I recall in medical school, I had one of the pediatric consultants, you know, in medical school. He was like, don't be upset if you see your 50-year-old having sex. It's a biological need. So this is where sexual health, sexual education comes in, right? Because you can have sex doesn't mean you should be having sex.
Yeah.
So it's important that we're able to educate ourselves and the people around us of sexual health and safe sexual practices.
So what we just talked about now being the emotional, physical, they actually these are some of the components. We usually say these are the components of sexual health. The emotional, psychological, physical, intellectual, and spiritual dimension. The aspect of the spiritual dimension is actually what trips me. Because people don't believe that there is also a spiritual dimension as one of the components of sexual health.
So I would even take it, by saying spiritual components, I'm going to take it from a different part from where you have in mind, I want to assume. Now, there are different religions, different thinking spiritually, okay? And then they're different. There's some religions that permit you to have sex. There's some premarital sex. There's some religions that permit you to have various sexual partners. Now, if you're in violation, let's say, for example, I'm a Christian, I'm Catholic, we believe that you shouldn't have sex before marriage. If you now practice or engage in premarital sex, you're inundated with some form of guilt, some form of you're not able to materialize your sexuality to the fullest because I shouldn't be doing this. We're not here to say this is wrong or this is right, okay? And in some other religions, they say, okay, in marriage you can have various sexual partners, meaning that you can marry up to 4 wives. Some people say you can marry underage kids. So it varies on from religion to religion, and that is what it will guide you, which is what is important. So you should be guided by your own religion, so that there is no guilt, there's no dysfunction as it comes to materializing your sexuality. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. So I want to take it back to home, family, because I'm big on that, family, parenting, and for the fact that being a psychiatrist, I kind of have seen quite a lot, going on that we actually kind of overlook or undermine and just think that it doesn't really kind of matter, or it doesn't. They will outgrow it, or it's just a child. So we do know that it's a risk factor for a child that has been sexually molested, harassed, or gone through rape or whatever as a child. Possibility of that child being an adult, having any form of mental illness is key. What role would you say the family should play when it comes to our sexual health? Knowing that family also involves schools, because the teachers are also kind of parents, and the parents are so when it comes to our sexual health, these two sectors, I think they should be held more accountable when it comes to at least the basis before, as you grow, the environmental influence can come in.
You're very correct. So I'm going to start with biology. You must teach your children their body. I'm of the school of thought that you should teach your children that your body is your anatomy, and they shouldn't see the body as a sexual organ, especially as kids. So you should teach your boy child and your girl child different body parts. Name them by name. Not, of course they should know that there's private parts and there are public parts where should be touched and where should not be touched. However, you shouldn't make it, not something you should hide. Yeah. Just not I know some people who say, don't use funny names. Yeah. Don't say, I remember as a child, I used to call it yo-yo-yo. Call it by its name. I know there are some homes that they hide their underwear from, like the mothers hide their underwear from their sons. I don't believe that. Your child, you would create some inquisitivity and doubt in the child. So let the child know, this is my mom's underwear. This is my mom's boobs. This is my mom's private area. I let it not be something you hide, and vice versa, father. And I don't mean go shove it in your child's face, but it's just something that you should openly speak about. Okay, and it's important that you identify your sexuality as a person, because you know that there's a lot of gender confusion, and it starts from the home. So if that is if that's fixed, then chances are, aside from the other risk factors that may occur, but if you're able to fix it from the home, you will not have issues with sexual identification and identity as the child grows up.
And I think that awareness is very key, because when they say, if you tell the child is going to do it. No, it's like if you say, ask somebody if he's suicidal, that person will go and do it. No, it's you knowing what to do and how to help the person. So when we talk about that, how do we then come to the fact that how can individuals maintain their sexual health at any given age they are in?
So I believe that we need to teach everything is from
the family.
From the family and childhood. Yeah. You must teach your child first, and of course as adults, because we learn every day, you should be responsible for your sexual health. Meaning that you should not be coerced, you should not be forced, it should be pleasurable. So if all these things are not met, then you know that you need to do something about it. You're not a tree, you should move. Okay, you should take action. So you need to be responsible for your sexual health. Make sure that it's safe. Make sure it's something you agree to. Okay, make sure it's something that you want to do. And because the sexual acts and all the acts around sexual performance is a lot. Okay, let it be something that you're interested in. Whatever it is, there are no wrongs, there are no rights. As long as the two people involved are in agreement. Adults. Okay, and they are adults. Consenting adults. So make sure it's consensual, make sure it's that's what you want to do. Make sure you're not coerced, make sure you're not forced, and make sure it's pleasurable. Okay, you need to also constantly learn, improve. Okay, in the sexual act itself, understand the science behind the sexual acts and know how best to satisfy yourself and your partner. Also, it's important that, especially women, when I say take responsibility for your sexuality and sexual health, women need to learn to carry condoms. Because practicing safe sex is one of the banes of having a good sexual health. Okay, you need to be able to be responsible. Don't wait for your sexual partner to have a condom. You yourself, because culturally here it's shied upon. You don't want to buy a condom. You don't want to talk about sex. But how then do you not take responsibility? If you depend on your sexual partner to take responsibility and the person doesn't support, then you're left hanging. So it's important that we step up and take responsibility ourselves for our sexual health.
So it's important that we take responsibility for ourselves, even for the decisions that we make. Is it possible for a woman to say she was raped because a married woman, because the partner made advances and she said she wasn't ready, but the man insisted? Would you call that rape?
Yes. So rape is forceful sexual intercourse. I remember I talked about consent. Consent is important by both parties. So a man or a woman can be raped in marriage. It's important that if you want to do in the night, or you plan ahead and make sure that there's a buy-in of your partner so that it's enjoyable and it's pleasurable.
Okay.
Wow, intimate partner violence, and I think that is something that hasn't been really looked into with regards to how terrible and traumatizing it can be for especially the women, because women deal a lot of emotions, so you can't just say, oh, it's time for this, and you just go right in. Foreplays and all that is supposed to be like a big thing for any woman. But again, we also have to now look at all the flip side of it, the different sexual, dysfunction and sexual disorders that comes along with it. If you can shed more light on that, I would really
sexual dysfunction.
So for men, the most common is erectile dysfunction. Okay. And then there's also low libido, which can be both for men and women. Some women suffer post-traumatic stress from either rape, or men and women, by the way, rape and genital mutilation. And also people have very different sexual, their coitus most times probably was not pleasurable or was in a funny circumstance. So that leads their, future sexual encounters. So depending on what they were exposed to, that could also cause some sort of dysfunction.
Okay. So talking about the erectile dysfunction for men, okay, will you be able to just expatiate more? What are some of the possible reasons and causes? Because some people, most of them really don't realize that even stress can have an impact on them. So do you want to just expatiate more on that?
So erectile dysfunction is the inability for a man to achieve and maintain erection that can see him through a sexual intercourse or a sexual session. You know? And so even if he's been able to have an erection, mid intercourse it drops. That is also called erectile dysfunction. So sometimes it's performance anxiety. Maybe you want to do and you're scared you might not be able to do as you had, thought or explained or coerced your partner, so that can happen. There's some apprehension with it. And then there's stress that you talked about, diet, other comorbidities like hypertension, diabetes, those can cause erectile dysfunction. Should you have erectile dysfunction, you need to see a urologist. Okay, who is the doctor that's specialized in that area?
Part of the six life skills to improving one's sexual health. Talk about assessing your health. That was one of the things that you mentioned. And making good decisions. It's part of the skill. Yeah. So you need to learn how to make good decisions, informed decisions. So it's part of the skill. Another one is communicating effectively. Yeah. Don't physically communicate something, what you read, and you don't mean it. Yeah. In your heart of hearts, this is what you mean, but in your physical appearance, your body movement is signed. You are not given that right. So mean what, really communicate effectively what you mean. Then also practicing of wellness. You see, these are some of the skills that will help us to improve our sexual health. And of course, sex.
Can I ask the question? I know I'm a guest.
Yeah. Yes.
But when you say actively communicating your needs, and you're talking about saying something and doing another thing, you can verbally communicate and physically communicate. Yeah. There's this term that's on the streets called rape and beg.
Yeah.
Okay. So a woman is telling you no.
Meanwhile, she wants
no.
is different.
No, doesn't mean that's what she wants.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that's what she wants.
Exactly.
But maybe she's not strong enough to emphatically say no. Because I was listening to a video yesterday by Chimamanda. She said, let's teach our girl children not to be nice.
Nice. Yeah.
So is that nicety that's keeping you and saying, oh no, because you don't want to hurt his feelings. So I think that no, this is an opportunity to say that no is a complete sentence.
It is a complete
sentence. Really.
Whether my body is doing like this, is doing like this.
The moment thing, Dr. Chibuki, the truth is
communicate effectively.
See, if there's also that statement that if she says yes, if she says no, she actually means yes. So don't mind her. You will go to jail. We have to nail it up here. We will go because as far as she has said no, if you are already there, get out.
And please let me add.
Yes.
Even if we have even started.
Stop.
In the heat of it.
And she said no.
No, but it can be confusing. No,
it's not confusing. Let's not say. I'm taking this side of it. It is not confusing.
I know I'm speaking with this side of my mouth.
It's not confusing. No is no.
No is no.
You know in the heat of pleasure.
There's nothing in the heat of no. There's nothing in the heat of pleasure.
What if I don't yes?
It is not no. It is not yes.
Okay, now no. No is no.
No is no.
Yes, so no is no. That's why we always say communicate effectively. But before I let you go, one of the other skills that I have to say, did you develop the refusal skills? And of course, you evaluate media messages. On that note, I want to say thank you for coming on our program because we decided to continue on sexual health. We have part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4.
And we actually need it. We actually need that different series of it.
Thank you very much. We think about that. So thank you so much for coming on our program. And we look forward to seeing you again. And to our viewers out, we just want to appreciate you for always keeping a date with us on the decisions. And ensure that next week, you also call somebody, ask somebody to join you and listen because we always have very important information to share with you. My name is Dr. Martina Aigbe. Stay blessed.
Thank you, Dr. Aigbe. That was such a refresher. Like literally, sexual health is something like feels like a taboo. Don't want to talk about it. Fathers don't want to speak to their sons. They think it's a responsibility of a mother to talk to the children. Parents, you need to understand. It takes two. So parents, it's our responsibility to educate our children because once we don't teach them, they are going to go out there. Thank you once again to all our viewers watching. We talked about sexual health today. So are you at that age where you think you are sexually okay to start having sex? But you need to understand that the implications, nothing, no action that doesn't have a reaction. So you have to take deep. If you are going into that, you also make sure you protect yourself. You are knowledgeable enough to know what to do and how to do it. And as parents, because I'm taking this as a parent here, as a teacher, please let that communication start from our homes. Teach your children age-appropriate, culturally appropriate ways and words.
And spiritually appropriate.
Yes, and spiritually appropriate about their body, so that when they get out there, they know exactly what they are going to communicate with. Be kind. Please to follow us on all our various social media platforms. And if you've ever missed any of our program, go binge on our YouTube, The Physicians NG. There are lots of information there. We help to reduce misinformation and disinformation right here at The Physicians. And if you want to be like Dr. Aigbe right here, go to our website, fill the form, and please come share your knowledge with the world. Until next time, my name is Dr. Mimuna Yusuf Kadri.
Every day and in every way, enjoy that I find support. No matter the role you play, you jump back some limits for you and me. In your body, that I fight you.
Darvite nutritional supplement is loaded with essential multivitamins, minerals, and natural ingredients that helps you to be at your best. Darvite from LB Pharma. Darvite. Love yourself.